shortcut for condensing on microphones. Welcome back to Orthodox Review, the most uneducated educational program here on the internet today. I am your host, Raphael, the guy with 1.5 thumbs, and today we're going to take a look at this little sucker. Nice little, yeah, I love pocket prayer books. If you've ever watched any of the older reviews I did for any small prayer book, you know, anything that's teeny tiny like this, I absolutely love. And today, going kind of outside the box here, Wartime Prayer book by the Venerable Fulton Sheen, a Roman Catholic devotional, which we very rarely feature on the show. And as it's been said before in our Discord discussions, on Instagram, correspondences here and there, the only time I will feature a Roman Catholic text on Orthodox Review is if there's something to be gleaned from it through the lens of orthodoxy that may be beneficial or even just really interesting. So before we get into the book, please, in your charity, like, share, subscribe, yada, 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 yada. We are on Discord. I don't know what's going on with the link. I made a permalink. It doesn't work. Check the links below, but they'll be there. Patreon is a thing. All this stuff appears on Patreon long before it makes it to the regular interwebs. There's exclusive audio over there. There's stuff. But the Discord is a lot of fun. We're having a good time over there. Okay, so with that out of the way, for those of you that don't know, and here we shall look at the notes, some brief notes. This is the kind of stuff that usually I have committed to memory, but I just don't. Honestly, I'm in a lot of pain right now. My sciatica has been acting up. I've got like 3 pillows behind me right now. But anyway, Fulton Sheen, for those of you that don't know, was born May 8th, 1895, and passed away December 9th, 1979. I'll say this now before we go into the timeline of his ministry stuff. Most of his stuff is on YouTube. He was very witty, you know, very personable, but very, very firm in his faith. So from 1930, starting in 1930, he had the Catholic Hour on NBC Sunday Night Radio. From 1952 to 1957, he had a show called Life is Worth Living. From 1961 to 68, he had the Fulton Sheen program. He wrote about 73 books, and this little guy right here is from, I just looked at the note, Armor of God, published in 1943, so right smack dab in the middle of World War II. Now, if my back didn't hurt so bad, I could reach right over there and grab the Orthodox prayer book from World War II, but it hurts a lot, so bear with me. Anyway, see, I'm dying, folks. I'm dying. So let's take a look at what's in here of note, and we'll get some top-down footage of this to show you. But first of all, let's go through the table of contents here, because table of contents will always tell you what you want to know about a book when it comes to prayer books like this. Okay, the publisher's note here. Fulton Sheen composed this prayer book in 1943 during a time of great danger and suffering for the United States and the world. Our world has fallen again into the shadow of war, and terror stalks souls in many lands. May these prayers that brought holiness and comfort to an earlier wartime generation bring goodness and consolation to ours. The reason I bring that up is because this was recently printed. This printing is from I don't know. It was recent. I don't know, 2003. So right after the towers fell. Now, one thing before I even get into the contents here is there's and I don't know what y'all's views are on this, but you know, there is a lot of mention of Hitler or the Nazis, this, that, the other thing. I'm not here to get political about anything. I'm just letting you know that, like, it does kind of date the contents in some ways. But let's go through the contents here real quick. So you have your introduction, a section called Clearing Away the Debris, kind of like a Q&A. So here it says here, I'm an atheist, I do not believe in God. And then so he writes a response to these things. So here it says, would there ever be prohibition unless there was something to prohibit? Would there ever be anti-cigarette laws unless there were cigarettes? How could there be atheists unless there was something to atheate? That's brilliant. Atheism is not a doctrine, it is a cry of wrath. Quote, by night an atheist half believes there is a God. Before you deny God, ask yourself why you deny him. Is it because the way you live? A poem of Arthur Hugh Clough satirized those who wish there were no God because he interferes with their dishonesty, their lawlessness, or their license. And one thing you'll note, I mean, an incredibly well-read man, and he was a teacher, professor, and so as classical men were in the United States, you know, public education was actually a good education back then. Anyway, so the poem reads as such. There is no God, the wicked saith, and truly it's a blessing. For what he might have done with us, it's better only guessing. There is no God, or if there is, the tradesman thinks 'twere funny, that he should take it ill in me to make a little money. There is no God, a youngster thinks, or really, if there may be, he surely didn't mean a man always to be a baby. Some others also to themselves, who scarce so much as doubt it, think there is none, when they are well, and do not think about it. So right off the bat, he in the not in the prayers, but in the earlier parts of this book, kind of goes for the throat a little bit in refuting atheism. So let's go back to here. So you have thoughts in wartime, thoughts for soldiers, and again, this is more reflections, and pretty much it's just him writing encouragement. And actually, there is a chapter here, chapter 6. It's called Encouragement for Soldiers. Plenty of scriptural quotes there. And then you have a section on the Eucharist, the Blessed Mother. You have the Stations of the Cross, basic prayers, morning and evening prayers, occasional prayers in the appendix. And what you'll find in here prayer-wise is not anything too unlike what you will find in modern Western Rite prayer books in Orthodoxy. So in that case, you have some pretty cool stuff. You know, the Apostles' Creed, Act of Faith, Act of Contritions, morning prayers, evening prayers, and they're all very lovely. Psalms included. But the only gripe I would really say as an Orthodox Christian with a book such as this is that the theology just doesn't line up with ours. So for those of you with a discerning heart, a sure foundation in the faith, I would say it's worth it to have a look at. It's only like $9.95. You know, and it's not, you know, it's blue bound. It's really nice. It's a neat little book. And I'm always going to have a soft spot for certain aspects of Roman Catholicism because that was what I was brought up in. There's the whole cultural angle, especially growing up on Long Island, a very, very Roman Catholic area. So little books like this, you know, I'm always going to have a soft spot for them. But here, let's check out some of the prayers in here, huh? So here's a morning offer. It's called, "Oh my God, I offer thee all my prayers, works, and sufferings of this day in union with the Sacred Heart of Jesus. for the intentions for which he pleads and offers himself in the holy sacrifice of the Mass, and thanksgiving for thy favors, in reparation for my offenses, and in humble supplication for my temporal and eternal welfare, for the needs of our Holy Mother, the Church, the conversion of sinners, and the relief of the poor souls in purgatory. Poor souls in purgatory. See, and right away in the prayers we see flawed theology, because for those of you that aren't aware of this, if you're not Orthodox, we don't buy into the purgatory thing. There's no God's waiting room unless you're referring to like Florida. It's, it's one or the other. We live somewhere between heaven and hell, folks. I wish to gain all the indulgences attached to the prayers, I shall say, to the good works I shall perform this day. Now, the poetry of the prayers is beautiful. Like, it flows very well. It doesn't seem as hokey as like some of the older English prayers. But so that's why you got to be careful, though, because if you're new to Orthodoxy, or maybe you're unsure of what our faith is, like maybe you were brought up in the church, like you got to be careful reading these things, because you might wind up with some heterodox thoughts there. So always talk to a priest before going into something like this. But for you collectors out there, God, I love collecting these things. Like you got a prayer here from St. Thomas Aquinas. Do we call him a saint? Let's go to the wartime stuff. Yeah, thoughts on wartime, page 7. Let's do that. Why does God not stop this war? God could stop this war, but the cost of doing so would be the destruction of human freedom. Are we not fighting to defeat dictators? Then why do we ask that God become a dictator? Solid, right? Like I said, there's things to be gleaned from this. God will not destroy our freedom because he will not be a dictator. Protestants, take note. And that is why God will not stop this war. I think that was the line that really kind of sold me on Fulton Sheen as a voice of reason. Again, theologically, he's not Orthodox. That aside, that right there pretty much sums up, like, I don't know about any of you, but, some people are always asking me, you believe in God, why doesn't he do this? Why doesn't he do that? Blah, 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 blah. And trying to explain to people that God gave us free will and refuses to mess with it. And I know some agnostics and atheists that like to try to run me in circles in conversation, saying, well, if this, then this, if a lot of ifs. And it's just like, no, you don't get it. Like, everything here is a gift. We have free will. So when bad things happen, it's not like God is like, punishing us. Listen, this is all product of the fall. Trust the plan. I know that's like the worst thing I could possibly say. Trust the plan. But it's God. You got to trust the plan. He knows what's best. He gave us free will, and we have to use it accordingly. Well, that went off topic super quick. So anyway, now I gotta try to stand up from this excruciating pain and edit this video. At any rate, I'm still working on the eye contact thing here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking this out. The pain. I don't know what I'm a little delirious. Anyway, we'll see you next time on the show. On behalf of Spooky Cat, her mom, and myself, please pray for me. Pray for us. We're gonna be praying for you. Icon corner's right there, never out of sight. I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show and the work we're doing here. Don't forget to go to church, say your prayers, and remember God. God bless you.